Okay, people from our Dolce Vita page should be seeing us right now. Hello, everyone. Okay, so again, thank you everyone for joining us in our webinar today, Cats and Mental Health. We are very excited to have you tonight, and thank you for supporting us in this cause and dedicating your time with us. We know that you have a choice to do something else tonight, but you're here with us, so we really appreciate that. We hope that after this session, you can share your learnings and takeaways to your friends, your family, and your social media so more people can be aware about cats and how they can contribute to our mental health and cat adoption. So yeah, we are live in our Dolce Vita Facebook page. Hello to everyone watching via Facebook. So feel free to put your questions in our Dolce Vita Facebook page, and we will try to address them as long as the time permits. So we normally start 5 to 10 minutes to give time for people who will come in or dial in. So sometimes there are technical issues, especially if it's the first time attending a session like this. Sometimes their audio or their video doesn't work, so they may have to reconnect and configure their technical settings. So please bear with us. For people joining this Zoom webinar and for people who are watching us over Facebook, we would love to know your nationality and where you're watching us from. So feel free to comment the city and the country where you're dialing from. We are very interested in knowing about our audience more. So at the bottom of this page, in this Zoom, you have a chat button. Can everyone see the chat button? Can everyone click on it, please? So in this, okay, once you clicked on it, you have two options, send to panelists only and send to panelists and attendees. So for this particular purpose, where we're asking your nationality and where you're watching us from, please click on send to panelists and attendees so everyone can see your responses. So we will give you a minute or two to comment and we will give you a shout out. Okay, so let me have a look. Give me a moment. Okay, we have some attendees from Germany. We have Spanish and living now in UK. Hello, Lara. Hello, Helga. We have Anne from the Philippines. Hello. We have watching Helga watching from Hoffheim near Frankfurt. Welcome, welcome. So we have Nina from Indonesia. So this is very global. We have Grace from Philippines watching from Singapore. Hello, Grace. Gwen and Ivy from Singapore. Thank you for joining us. Doyun Kim, Korean from Malaysia. Hello. Nino, Filipino watching from Manila. Hello, Nino. We have Niha from India watching from Singapore. And Nina too from Singapore. Hello, Nina. Hello, Nina. Born and bred in Singapore. Mushrif from Sri Lanka. Wow. Howdy, Rachel from Singapore. Hello, Rachel. So let me go over to our Facebook page. Let me see if we have some comments here. Okay, so far no comments yet on the Facebook page, but we will get back to this page shortly. Okay, let me get back to my screen. Give me a moment. Okay, awesome, you guys. This is really like super global. Congratulations. Thank you for all of you for attending. So please share the link to your friends. My name is April. I want to share you a bit about myself. I'm April, and I'm the founder of Dolce Vita Events Singapore. We are a sustainable events company, and currently we host webinars like this globally for our clients. And this is not your typical webinar where we will just talk and then you will just be watching in the background. We would like this event to be very interactive, so it will be more enjoyable and interesting for everyone. Okay, so we encourage you to really participate by chatting so you can also get a lot of things out of this webinar. Okay, so just to explain the flow of this webinar will have two parts in it. We will do our best to finish the presentation within an hour. and we have allocated 30 minutes after the presentation for the question and answer, where we will be inviting you to turn on your cameras so we can see your beautiful faces. You can directly ask your questions to our speaker, Kerstin, later. Okay, so there will be an interaction. So before I introduce our guest speaker, I would like to share some housekeeping. Okay, so right now everyone will be muted, at least for now. I will oversee all the technical and back end aspects of the webinar. We cannot see your video right now. We will only see your names on the chat. And later during the question and answer, we will be turning on your video so everyone can see each other, and you can ask your questions in the chat or personally as well. All right. And then I have mentioned this during the start of the session, but I will repeat it for the benefit of the people who just logged in. So this is about the controls of Zoom. At the bottom of the page, you have a chat button. So when you click on it, you have two options: send to panelists only and send to panelists and attendees. So if you click on send to panelists and attendees in the chat, everyone can see your responses. If you click on send to panelists only me and Kerstin can see your responses. Okay, so only the panelists can see your responses. At the bottom of the screen, you will have a Q&A button there. It's another button. So if you click on it, you will be able to type your questions anytime during the webinar. Okay, it will be collated in such a way that it will be collated in this place, in the Q&A place, so we can address your questions during the end of the session. Okay, you can also send in your questions anonymously. All right. And then also feel free to share your encouragement to our speaker, or if you want to voice out how amazing this session is, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay, so in this webinar, we will be talking about cats and why they are special, cat adoption in general, in Singapore context, and to be specific, how they help people alleviate anxiety, especially during this quarantine period. So now I would like to introduce our speaker, Kerstin, lovely Kerstin. Thank you for collaborating with us. Okay, so Kerstin is a Singapore-based pet portrait photographer who started her volunteer and foster and cat parenting journey in 2016. She adopted 2 kittens from a local shelter. But she wants to do more. She wants to do more for local animals. So she volunteers as a photographer and administrator for Project LUNI since 2018. She is a former IT professional, and she continuously tries to improve her knowledge, taking distance learning courses on animal behavior and care. During this COVID-19 period, she's taking care of Tigger and Piglet, very cute names. So 2 super cute tiny bottle babies. And despite the fleas, sleepless nights, and other health scares, her cats help her a lot to focus on something else other than the dreary situation outside. So I will hand the mic over to you, Kerstin.
Yeah, well, as you can see, cats help you focus on all kinds of things, but not really work. This is one of my own cats, which we've adopted here 4 years ago. And yeah, like April said, I've always loved animals, and now I finally get a chance to actually help them in person, and being part of a really great group that helps animals here in Singapore. There's a lot of people that do a lot of great work, but unfortunately there's a lot of cats that need help as well and new homes. So we hope you can spread the word after this and help us find new homes for cats, and maybe consider having having a cat, even though maybe before you thought you were a dog person, or have never considered owning a cat yourself, or thought they might not be the best pets because they're standoffish. And we'll get to that later. So yeah, so that's pretty much about myself. And then yeah, let's see. So here we have also some information about Project LUNI. So this is the organization I volunteer for. And Project LUNI was founded by Nina and Lukas, who are a Swiss couple, in 2018. And since then, they've really built up a big network, not only rescuing kittens and finding them homes, but also doing a lot of community work. So one of the aspects is called TNR, which stands for Trap, Neuter, and Return. This means that street cats or cats that have been abandoned and live outside are being trapped, they're getting sterilized and then returned where community feeders take care of them. And therefore it stops the cycle of more kittens being born on the street and suffering. And there's also a large group of feeders which are supported by Project LUNI. So over 400 cats are actually fed on a daily basis to make sure they're fine. They get also medical treatment. And of course, if they find any abandoned kittens or cats that are rehomable, then we rescue them, we put them into a foster home. We have a network of quite a few fosterers with different capabilities and situations that actually take care of the cats and help us rehome them. So we're not a shelter, so there's no central space. Everybody does it on their own time in their own private home. And we pretty much exist virtually in that sense. So yeah, this was the part about myself. Pretty much always liked photography. Obviously, I didn't take this picture myself, but both me and my husband actually are into photography. So it's great to have models right here at home. And hopefully also after the circuit breaker, we can also find some jobs again doing this. But for now, we have to make do with the 4 cats we have here.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for that, Kerstin. So we are now going to go directly to the questions. Okay, so I have a set of questions for you for our topic today. So the first one will be, what are some of the mental health benefits of cat ownership?
Okay, so the thing is, owning a pet in generally, of course, lots of people just want a companion, whether you're alone or you're a family. Having a pet when you come home that's waiting at your door, that's happy to see you, they're usually not in a bad mood unless they're very hungry, especially for cats. But it just makes you very happy to come home and somebody is waiting for you. And furthermore, it gives you a sense of routine. So you have to get up and feed the cat, and it just helps you even on a day when you're maybe down, you just want to stay in bed. Your cat's still going to be there. They're still going to be hungry. They're not going to feed themselves. So you're just forced to take care of them. And I feel like, especially if you're having a bad day, that can really snap you out of it. There have been a lot of studies as well, and research done on the effects that cats have on you based on surveys and observations. So they, sorry, this one requires food, obviously, all the time as a helper. So just petting a cat has shown to lower your heart rate and your blood pressure. They will demand it as well. So sometimes you're having a really stressful day and you're just watching the news and it's horrible, but then your cat jumps on your lap and you focus on that, and it helps you focus on something different, taking your mind off of things, because they will just, you know, distract you and force you to maybe be just in that moment when you've been worrying about your job or how long this circuit breaker in Singapore, for other countries that's a lockdown, is going to last. And if you're in Singapore, you know that it has just been extended by another 4 weeks. And I think for many of us, this is actually causing a lot of stress.
Yeah, I agree.
And now you can't go outside anymore with other people, but still you have your pets here. And
exactly.
At least personally, I think that's of great help. They just love you the way you are, whether you're grumpy or not. And if you're having a depressed day because you don't know if your job is secure, but they'll still come to you, and they'll sometimes for more pets than usual, I would say. So yeah, so it's really good to have them around. and they're not too demanding. I mean, cats sleep most of the day, in fact. But when you want a cat cuddle, they're often there for you. And lastly, it gives you a really good feeling if you've adopted a cat that you actually know that you saved that cat's life, because they otherwise would have been on the street here. They could be run over by a car. There's a lot of disease on the streets, and not many make it very long. So knowing that you've helped that cat and gave it a home and shelter and good food is, I think you can feel really good about that as well. Because there's also days when you really, really get annoyed with your cats, like when they wake you up at 4 a.m. and want food. So there's that part as well. I guess it's with children, you have good days and bad days. But overall, it's really great to have them around, and particularly now, I think.
Exactly, that's good. And can you tell us more about this photo, Kerstin? Is this your cat or one of the ones that you fostered?
That's actually one of the very, very, very early kittens I photographed at Nina's place. This is actually, I think, probably just a few weeks or months after we met. This was, I think her name was Xenia.
Oh, wow. So tiny, so cute.
Very small and very, very cute. So it's just one of my favorite pictures, the way she just walks around the house, like, although she's probably not older than 6 to 7 weeks, she still has blue eyes. So all kittens are born with blue eyes, just like babies. She has this confidence, and she's just, okay, this is my home now. And it's this was part of the start, I think, of the whole volunteering and taking pictures of cats and helping them to find good homes.
Amazing. So you fell in love with her. So that's why you started this journey. So very apt picture, very good. So now I would like to ask for your help to discuss how cat purring, can help humans with mental health. Like, what's the connection of it?
So cat purring is still actually not 100% known why and how they purr. But basically, cats purr at a frequency that promotes healing. So that has been studied, and that is known. So they do purr when they're content, which many people know that cats purr when they're happy, but cats also purr when they're actually in pain. And it's also been shown they purr sometimes when they're about to die, because this also calms them down. It's this frequency that calms the cats down, that helps them heal. It's a frequency that research has shown to even help heal bones. So obviously it's one of those things you also have to, believe in it. But just the sound of a cat purr is super, super relaxing. It's almost like white noise, because if you just focus on it, it's I don't know, like meditation maybe. So it's this very calming sound, and if you have the cat in your lap and you feel the vibration, it just makes you super relaxed and calm.
Oh wow, yeah. I've read some articles that they're saying that the cats are being used for homes, as like pets, and they go to the hospitals, So yeah, very good. I didn't know about this one.
You need the right type of cat for that.
Okay.
So not all cats would be willing to do this and be in different environments.
I see.
So my cats, for example, they've never left this home, so they would probably be very scared. But yeah, I've heard of elderly homes where they actually have their own cats now.
Exactly.
Or they encourage actually sometimes family to bring cats to the owner in hospital, so they can meet them and make them feel better. Because you also have the strong connection to your pet usually, so it really helps to feel more comforted and cheered up when you can bring them. And yeah, most people think of dogs maybe as
more of this type, right?
But cats with the right personality can totally do it, and those two come on their own terms.
Yeah.
Almost on a daily basis, they have a time when they want to snuggle, and even if you're busy, you're just on your computer or you're just preparing your own food and demand attention. And then I literally have to go and sit on the couch and have to take out a brush or for them a lint roller.
Oh, okay.
And just sit there for 5 to 10 minutes and just take that time out of the day and just relax
Yeah.
myself.
Okay, that's super nice. Now, like I would like to know now, what can you say about people? I mean, most people think cats are snobbish and they don't care about the world. Can you explain why this is not true?
So I think we call this maybe in the cat world, it's known as catitude.
Oh, okay.
So, cats by nature, in contrast to dogs, they're actually both predator and prey. So in the wild, they actually could fall victims to bigger prey animals, whether that maybe even here in Singapore, the stray dog, occasionally, or then where they originally come from, bigger prey animals. So they have more instinct to maybe run away from bigger animals, which
Okay.
humans would be in that sense. And it takes a bit more time for them to gain trust than a dog who will be just happy if you have food, right? And a lot of them are, of course, much more independent. They use their litter box, they go about their day. Some people think we're merely a can opener whenever they demand food, but they really show a lot of affection on their terms. So it's not as easy to just pick them up and cuddle, but when they want to cuddle you, you know that they really have bonded and they really, really like you. And of course, there's different characters. Each cat is different. So Marvin, he's very hyper. He's a bit of a maniac sometimes.
Marvin, this is Marvin, right?
This is Marvin, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is basically just after a play session where he went crazy. And it's just panting. It's just so happy that he gets to run around and chase things. And
yeah, Marvin seems like a very happy cat.
Yeah,
very in a good environment. So
you
it's
will
really
find
good.
cats that will be just happy to sit on your lap and snuggle all day. They will sleep in your bed. And actually, in fact, those two also sleep at the end of our bed most of the days. But just take some time maybe to get to know them and find out more about their character. And then they're really interesting. And each cat is unique, I think. And they do have very, very different ways of showing affection. But they do know what they want. So they know which food they want. They know which part of their body they want, pet or not. Some love belly rubs. The other one will probably end up in a massacre. And your hand will get mutilated. It's just finding out what they like. And then they'll be very, very loyal to you. And yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's really good. Now, I want to know, this one is a bit more personal. How does your cats help you during this circuit breaker period, which got extended in Singapore?
Yeah. So basically, for us personally, it's of course they provide you with an endless amount of laughs, because they just do silly things when they play together, when they jump on your keyboard again, when they keep you from working, actually. So work from home is great with cats. People send an email that's ready to be sent out, or just like Zelda in the upper right picture is like, nope, I want cuddles now. I need a break. Lie on your wrist, and there's nothing you can do. They give you that sense of purpose I mentioned before, and routine as well. And also now we're home as a couple, which I think is great. If you're single, I think the whole circuit breaker might be a lot harder. But even then, with friends and at home, they're great conversation starters, because you can actually talk about your cats and what they did. And in my case now, while we're fostering, of course, there's a lot more to talk about as well. With the two kittens we have, we probably talk more about them and their health issues right now than worrying what will happen once this all is over, or what happens with jobs. So it's a really good distraction from from what's happening outside. And yeah, like I said, they just force you to take those breaks and snap out of things. Especially when you're cooped up at home. I think a lot of us tend to be on the computer almost 24/7. And when you get head-butted and tail in your face, you do get some off-screen time as well.
Mm-hmm.
They force you.
They force you to do it. Now, my next question is, what are your do's and don'ts in cat adoption? I'm sure like a lot of people here who are listening, who are watching us over Zoom and via Facebook would want to adopt a cat. But what are, the do's and don'ts in adopting a cat?
So we actually have seen an increase in adoption and even fostering requests.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, yeah, people spend more screen time. They see all the cute cat videos. They see
Exactly
Instagram, and maybe now they want a cat. So it's very important that, of course, you don't do this on impulse, because it's a 20-year commitment in many cases. I've had friends, their cat recently passed away. It was 22 years old.
Wow.
So it shouldn't be, a toy or a present for your kid's birthday, or, your Instagram fashion model.
Yeah, exactly. Because I see a lot of people like gifting their girlfriends a cat, like, oh, she loves a cat. Okay, I'm gonna give her a cat for the birthday. So this is actually one of the don'ts.
Yeah, and I think it's much better, even if you want your kids to have pets, which I think is amazing. It's great, and they'll grow up understanding how to treat animals well. So even small kids can have cats. However, it's much better if you and your family actually meet the cats yourselves, and the kids maybe see which cat they bond with and which cat is okay with children, rather than giving a surprise present, and then the character might not fit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much better also if your girlfriend maybe wants a very calm cat or wants a very active cat. It's better to see if they bond,
Mm-hmm.
than just gifting it as a present. So
Yeah, because like the personalities also depend on the breed of the cat. Oh,
yeah.
wow. Okay.
Although in Singapore most of the breed is street cat.
Or a mixed, right? Like some cats can be mixed as well. Okay, good. How about the fashion colors clothes?
So it's just something, I think cats, they're very proud animals the way we see them, and it's just
Yeah.
nice to leave them as natural as possible. If you're just keeping them in your apartment, there's no need for them to be forced to wear clothes or even colors, which can be a safety hazard.
Mm-hmm.
So we usually advise strongly against that. If you take a small picture, that's fine, but
Mm-hmm.
we see cats like being put into silly clothes every day, and very insecure colors, even like leather colors that won't break off if they get snagged somewhere.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I
So
actually see a lot of this. Like they would like to dress up, even put spray paint in their cats. So like
yeah, I think you can take a lot of
crazy.
cute cat pictures and videos even without that. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
for that. Another aspect in Singapore that's very important, because most of us do live in high-rise buildings,
Yeah.
is cat safety. So there's a common misconception that cats will always land on their feet and they
Mm-hmm.
will survive falls from great heights.
Seven Lives, right? The one that.
And it's literally a myth, because while they can survive if the fall is cushioned, most cats actually die.
Mm.
Because this is just gravity, and they will land on their face and they will have pretty bad injuries. So thinking a cat won't jump from a balcony, or you can watch it when you have a window open, or your cat, when that bird flies past,
Mm-hmm.
you can see that fast what it does, and
Mm-hmm.
you leave the room for 5 seconds and your cat might be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, for example, one of our very strict criteria, is that an apartment has to be safe for cats in this urban environment.
I see. So is there like a particular requirement for that? Or you're going to explain that later?
I think I have some points on it later, but it's basically
Okay.
just meshing your windows and balconies to make sure that they cannot fall down.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So junk food.
Yeah, I think we could have a whole seminar on this, so I won't elaborate, but I always think that dry food is like compressed McDonald's food with vitamins. So I always think it's better to feed your cats like you feed yourself, you know, as little processed as possible, and as natural as possible. There's a lot of great ways nowadays. So this is just like yourself. You want to keep the cat healthy and prevent vet visits later in life. If you feed bad food, it's not going to show immediately and the cat will survive. And maybe you've known cats, and I have, that have lived a long, long life being on terrible, terrible dry food. But overall, you're just going to keep your vet visits down if you feed them healthy food.
Okay.
So mine even get raw food. Mine get raw kangaroo.
Wow.
And we've recently
Very well taken care of.
We became vegan, so I don't eat meat anymore. But the cats get, because this is their nature, they get raw food.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They have to have. I mean, because they're still predators after all, right? Wow. Okay. So the
We
do's?
strongly discourage like buying animals from pet stores because they often come from breeding farms. It's very unregulated here in Singapore, and they would often suffer from health issues. You're going to pay a lot of money, and you're basically fueling a trade in pets while there are so many cats born on the streets that need homes. So you can save money and help a shelter animal by just adopting.
Okay, then let's move on to the do's then.
So I already mentioned two of the things, like feed them good food and adopt, don't shop. But then actually, while you don't want to have the clothes, you can actually teach a cat tricks. So it keeps their mental health better because they get entertained, they have a task. You need a lot of patience. They're not as easy as a dog. But a food motivated cat like Marvin, he will learn how to do high five and shake a paw. And so we've taught him little tricks. And so if he wants a treat, he has to sit down, he has to give paw. And it's fun for him.
Wow, so cute. So are you the one who took the photo of Marvin and these two cats?
This is all my hand. So actually, so Sam, my husband, took those pictures.
Oh wow! And you have a home studio or makeshift like home studio, right? Exactly. It's so cool, so nice. Okay, on to my next question. Like what are the other general guidelines for adopting a cat, like the ones that you haven't mentioned here?
Okay, so one of the things is cats need space. They're very territorial. So for example, if you have several cats, we usually say you should have one bedroom per cat, because sometimes they want to have their alone space. They just need that space to roam, to run around. They would be very unhappy in a too tiny apartment typically, unless it's a very old lab cat that's maybe happy, but kittens really need space.
So they love space.
Yes. And typically, actually, I haven't listed this here, but typically, for example, if you adopt a kitten, we advise to adopt two. So they have a play buddy, because a human simply cannot replace another species companion, basically.
Oh, okay. So you prefer to have two. Okay.
Yes. So we actually, and that's a funny story. Before I knew all of this, I actually had planned to adopt Marvin alone. He was already 6 months. He was a black cat. Nobody really wanted him. And we actually took him home alone. But when we brought him home, he was terribly sad and he was crying and looking for his play buddies. So 4 hours later, we went back to the shelter and got Zelda, who is his sister.
Oh, okay.
And now I would always strongly advise to have two, because they play together, they groom each other, and they're actually much more fun to watch. And with the second point, the time you spend with cats, you really need to engage them in play session so that they get to let out their natural energy. You can do this less if you have two cats and they chase each other around the house.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Exactly.
So that really helps. And Finances, I think, especially in this time, you need to consider, like, can you spare the money for a cat? I would say ours costs us about $150 a month. That is, if there's no special vet bills or visits or anything extraordinary. If you give them good food, that's about the amount you can expect to pay for a cat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just something to consider, like, do you have this extra on the long term, and can you put something aside for vet visits?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned, the safety, do mesh your balcony and windows. And as you're having a webinar on plants,
Yeah.
so plants are actually one of the things that can be very dangerous for cats.
Mm-hmm.
There's flowers like lilies, certain herbs, the fake bamboo, for example, that can be really deadly for cats. So
Oh, wow.
you check first, what plants do I have at home? And if I want a cat, which one gets the preference? So that's something to look at, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing is, because some of us are expats, and our cats should be our family members. So it's good to research, if I would return to my home country, what would it cost me to bring my cats along? Now, for example, going back to Germany for me would be very easy. Singapore is a rabies-free country.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, usually it's quite easy to bring it to European countries. Now, UK or Japan or Australia can be different stories. And so it's wise to look into that as well before committing, if you're planning to possibly move within the next few years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. This is definitely a very big consideration and very timely, especially for this period. Tell us more about this photo, Kerstin.
This is Leela. She was our last foster kitten, or the circuit breaker. So
Before.
she still managed to get picked up by her new family. She now has a big brother, but apparently she's ruling the household.
Oh.
She did that clear. She would give Marvin a run for his money.
She's the boss.
He was half his size, well, less than half his size, and she would chase him up and down. And it was very good for him as well to keep him younger.
Yeah, exactly. So much energy. Marvin had to keep up.
She was actually found close by. She was found at the next MRT stop in a drain, just all by herself. Like
oh no.
Yeah, but
That's
luckily somebody rescued her and heard her and took her out.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy because, like me, I don't have a cat right now. I wouldn't think that people will just leave their cats there, you know? I wouldn't think that, you know? So it's really happening. It's very rampant in Singapore.
It's happening that people either abandon their pets, or I don't know, maybe financial reasons or space reasons. Some people neglect to sterilize their cats, and then they just multiply very quickly, and then they might put kittens out. And of course, then there's unsterilized street cats that might have had kittens and one just got lost. So we don't know her story, basically.
Okay. And then can you tell us more about, the adoption process? I'm sure that after what you discussed about, some people may be interested, like especially this time, anxiety levels are up. It's been studied that these worldwide lockdowns are causing anxiety to people. So can you share with us more about the process?
Sure. So the sad thing is, cat adoption and even rescue is not considered an essential service, which means that basically at this time, we cannot go out and rescue kittens and we cannot bring them to adopters, which is very sad. We're trying to apply for exemptions, but until this is clear, basically everybody has to do their part and stay home. So we're just hoping that people don't abandon cats and kittens, or if somebody comes across one, they'll just take it home. But of course, we have over 24 cats and kittens in foster care right now.
Oh, wow.
So we would encourage people, take the time now, discuss with your family and agree if you want to adopt a cat or maybe 2 kittens. Then on our Project LUNI Facebook page, there's always a post with all the kittens that are available for adoption, and a link to a Google inquiry.
Mm-hmm.
Fill out the inquiry, tell a bit about yourself, why you want a cat, what are your living arrangements, and all of those things, so that we can also find the right cat or kitten for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like we do the Zoom call now,
Yeah.
you can now meet the cats and kittens via Zoom.
That's great.
Or call or WhatsApp chat or something like that, where we would then discuss, our adoption requirements, where we'd explain what I've talked about before, like how much space they need, what food to feed, the cat safety, all of those things, sterilizing them at 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And if the fosterer and the potential adopter feel there's a good match, then you can actually reserve the kitten, which would mean we would stop meeting other adopters online.
Mm-hmm.
It would be then reserved for you to be picked up after the circuit breaker. And in that time, of course, you can get your home ready, order, pet supplies, order the food, and have everything ready. Maybe do some do-it-yourself cat safety measures, or contact the firms that actually provide cat safety services, and then have it ready after the circuit breaker.
Okay, so yeah, this is perfect. So, guys, everyone who wants to adopt a cat, please do a screenshot of this page so you can already prepare and save money while the circuit breaker, so that after the circuit breaker you're ready. Can you tell us more about this photo? So this is one of the photos you took for Project LUNI.
Yeah. So this, oh God, I think this is Ada, but I would have to ask the fosterer, because there was a bunch of very cute tortoise shell kittens, is what it's called. She actually went to a very sweet family with several kids, and she was one of the few that actually went alone, I think. Just let me check. It's Lizzie. I've been fine. So, our foster is on this call as well. So
okay, that's good.
This was Lizzie, and she was super adorable, very playful kitten. So what I usually do, I try to go to the fosterer home, where they're kind of in their natural environment, where they can play, and they know the people there, because then the kittens will be much more comfortable. If I, let's say, brought them to my place, they would smell different cats and they might be quite scared. So I typically travel to the foster homes to take the pictures there.
Oh, okay, that's great. So you also get to know the families,
Exactly. And for example, if I would do a pet photo shoot, it would be the same. It would always be the preference to be in an environment that the animal is comfortable with, like a dog in a park, the kittens or cats at home. Very few of them would actually be happy to just be taken into a studio.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now let me see. Okay, now if, for example, some of the people here who are listening or tuning into us would want to go ahead and adopt a cat, what is the proper way of welcoming a cat in a house? Like, can you just get a cat and then, okay, stay with the kids, okay, or this is your space? What is the proper way?
So again, this would almost be another topic, especially, for example, if you have an existing cat already, then they can take some time. There are certain steps you have to take to introduce two cats to each other. When one of them is a kitten or two of them are kittens, it's a lot easier than, for example, introducing two adult cats. Then you actually have to separate them and gradually introduce them. But we could do another webinar on that one.
Exactly.
Generally, it's when you bring them home, of course, first you need to give them space and time. So typically we recommend put them into a room like your guest room, where they can first get familiar with the different smells and sounds, and they first have one room to themselves, which is their territory, and then gradually you'd expand where they can go. And you have to, again, let the cat tell you the speed at which they're comfortable with. At the beginning, you might just sit in that room and wait for it to come to be petted or come for food. And then just gradually, this can take a couple of days, or it can take 1 or 2 weeks. It really depends on the cat.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, this should have been the first step. The cat safety is the windows, but also check, cords, the plants, anything that the cat could get into.
Mm-hmm.
Small spaces like under sofas or bookshelves, be aware that they will go and hide.
For sure, yes.
Hard to get out. So consider well where you let them go first, especially if they're for small kittens. Is it safe? Have treats ready. I recommend, for example, boiled chicken. Most cats go nuts for it. The smell, just most kittens will rush to you for boiled chicken. And actually, in the slides we can show later, that's actually how I convinced one of my foster kitten pairs to finally make friends. They were very, very feral when they came to me. So you can see at the bottom, at the beginning, they were just hiding in the bathroom. They were scared. They hadn't had human contact, basically. They've missed the so-called socialization window, and they're already quite old to actually be coming to humans. And then you can see how they slowly approach the hand and eventually fight with my cats for the chicken.
Exactly, yeah.
There's also so-called freeze-dried treats and things like that, which are much healthier than other treats. On the other hand, there's always a balance. Like once in a while, mine get junk food treats as well, but it's only a treat.
Yeah.
Then there's something called catification. So this is a big thing now. And if you watch, for example, the show My Cat from Hell or Jackson Galaxy, which is usually cats that have behavioral issues, those can often be solved by making your apartment more cat friendly, which means having, in this picture below, there's a window perch, having high cat trees where they can climb, having spaces, high shelves where they can go up and hide, having enough scratch posts, boards, everything. We usually advise people on that, what they should get to make it really cat friendly. So even small apartments, sometimes if you think you don't have that much floor space, you can actually make space on a vertical line. So that will help them to feel more comfortable and to have hiding and observation spots and sleeping spots. And then just observe your cat and see what they like. So you can see at the end, they let me rub their bellies and they became very comfortable with my cats and being around humans. You can see on the left, they're probably 8 weeks old. And we had them until about 4 months, which was when they were starting to be pretty friendly. It was a socialization process, but this was for feral kittens. So the kittens we have in fostering are typically not like that. The kittens we have when we get them smaller, they're usually much more friendly.
Wow, I didn't know that there's like a lot of process into it, and you even have the apartment catification. Wow. Yeah, because they would want to like jump around, climb around, and if you don't want your home stuff to be destroyed, you have to prepare their space, right? Okay, very interesting, very interesting. Now, so we already discussed a lot of things about cat adoption, right? Can you tell us more about the cats who are for adoption in the Singapore context, like the current ones that you have?
Okay, so yeah.
so this a lot.
The picture I tried to collect, I might have missed 1 or 2 that we've added.
So all of these cats are for adoption, is that right?
I think one or 2 of them might have been just reserved in the last couple of days, but yeah, so those are with various fosterers. So at the top you see, okay, Tigger and Piglet, those are mine. And next to that you actually see some very, very small babies. They're all Star Wars
so small.
So they will still take time, but then we have some that are medium sized. They will be pretty much ready to go to their new home as soon as the circuit breaker ends. As well as some adult cats. So especially at the bottom you see Pan Pan and Tom Yum, Laksa, Bailey.
So cute, Tom Yum and Laksa.
They're all from one group of cats that were abandoned in the Baru area. 4 of them already found homes, and those 4 are left. So there was a total of 8 cats that were abandoned, and we gradually managed to rotate them through our foster care system. And so sometimes if you want maybe an older cat, you don't want all the kitten craziness, you want one where you kind of know the character already, then older cats can be great companions as well. So yeah, all of them should be coming up on our Facebook page, on the Project LUNI Facebook page, and people can inquire for them. And some of them, like for example, Tigger and Piglet, have to go in pairs, while other ones could go with another buddy or be mixed and matched or go alone.
So there's really a lot. I mean, I can just imagine right now, because people are thinking that, okay, everyone is focusing on the COVID period, but definitely the problem with the cats being abandoned is still there. So it doesn't go away. A lot of people, don't understand this. And see, there are 24 cats for adoption. And at the moment, you cannot do that because people cannot adopt because of the circuit breaker.
Yeah. So we hoped in 2 weeks we could send the first ones to their homes. And
I know.
Of course, today was a big blow for us.
Exactly.
But what can you do? This is just the facts we have to deal with. There's probably much harder fates out there. Cats will be taken care of. The fosterers will be paying for their food. They'll be feeding them. They'll be well taken care of. And we'd be happy to online meet people and see if they're interested in any of the kittens in the meantime. And then you have something to look forward to, maybe to pick up after this.
Exactly. So just plan ahead during this period. And now, so of course, now people cannot adopt any cats. They cannot move. What else can they do to help, like Project LUNI and yourself?
Yeah, so there's always something you can do, whether you want to adopt a cat or say you cannot right now. So you can always volunteer. Fostering, of course, right now is basically on hold as well for new fosterers because we cannot meet them. And officially, we cannot send new cats to them as well. But if somebody was interested to foster after the period, you can always sign up for that. But then there's a lot of administrative tasks, social media, IT, fundraising, where we can always use people. I've been doing a lot, and I keep telling that I have to do less.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
I'm very, very happy to share some tasks and all of other admins as well. Everybody is doing it without pay, on the side of normal jobs and their normal lives and partners. So the more we can spread the load, the better. We know everybody is strapped financially right now, and we know it's super hard. So we still have street cats to feed. And so if anybody can donate anything, of course, that's highly welcome. Even small amounts, the more people donate, $10, it just adds up and it helps. And if you don't have the money and you cannot do that, then spread the word, share our Facebook post, or if you like this webinar, you can share it on Facebook and encourage.
Exactly.
Here's somebody that wants to buy a cat, convince them and tell them, hey, I've heard adoption is much better. It's much cheaper. The cats are actually vet checked. They're healthy, and you can actually save lives instead of fueling this trade of cats, which means a lot of suffering for the moms that get bred and for potential health hazards that happen because of it.
Yeah,
you can always do, with whatever your means are. Every little helps, really.
Exactly. So to everyone who's watching via Zoom right now and Facebook, so this webinar is for free, but if you feel like donating, feel free to do so. There's the UEN number. You can transfer it like with any bank that you have in Singapore. If you're donating from overseas, feel free to reach out to us so that we can, provide you more information on how you get to donate later if you want to. So yeah, feel free to share this. It's a beautiful cause that Kerstin and Project LUNI is doing. Yeah, so I mean, it's a way for us to help out, right? At least. And then, so okay, this is already the donation part. Okay, what else they can do? But if they want to foster, how do they go about fostering a cat if they're not ready for that permanent responsibility and just want to have like a temporary one, but they want to have the cats, they want to foster? How do they go about doing it?
Yeah, so fostering is great. For example, if you say you don't know how long you're going to be in Singapore and you can't have a permanent commitment, fostering is absolutely great. It's super rewarding knowing that, you know, those kittens had a chance at surviving and didn't end up on the street. However, it's also super challenging. So in the last 3 weeks, I've gotten up at least once or twice a night to feed those little ones, Tigger and Piglet. When they're small, they need food every 2 to 3. At this age, maybe every 3 to 4 hours. Now they're 5 weeks, so usually I just get up once at 4 or something to make sure that they get their food. They're very fragile at this age as well. And so I've had a lot of worries about, also now you cannot go that easily to the vet. They've actually been sick with cat flu. And so it's, be prepared that there is some challenges, right? It's great to see them thrive, and it's good that they're now getting better, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But be prepared for that. You know, you won't sleep and you will worry about them. There's finances and vet visits that you have to do. So Project LUNI usually helps with this, but we cannot cover it fully. It's usually part of it comes out of the adoption donation. But usually this is one way of volunteering, right? So I will take care of them and I will pay their vet bills and I will pay their food. And
exactly, yeah.
so this is just my way of contributing by just shouldering that cost so that other donations can, for example, go to the street cats and sterilization, which is super important. I personally feel I had a steep learning curve. When kittens are as small as in this picture, they don't pee and poo by themselves. So you actually have to play mom and encourage them and
potty train them. Yeah.
It's not just to potty train them, you know, you have to rub them to pee, and it's like, it's a big mess. So things, it's like, oh, they look cute and cuddly, but they're a bit messy at the beginning. But it's fun as well, you know. If you ever want to practice of having a baby in the future, maybe you should get kittens first. And
exactly, yes.
how you can deal with that for a few weeks, when with a real baby, it will take years.
Yeah, it's true.
And yeah, just caring for them, what food, when to wean them now they're going on solid food, how to treat them when they're sick. So it's interesting. There's a lot of resources. We try to help people as well. There's books. There's this amazing lady called Kitten Lady in the States. She has a lot of videos and amazing books, and some of our fosterers use that as a resource as well to help them. And then usually you can manage. And then the hardest part for me is, and this is why I don't foster much. The few kids I saw, those are really the only ones I fostered in 2 years. Letting them go. So letting them go is the really, really hard part. It really breaks your heart because, for example, Freya and Loki, the black and white ones, they've been with us for 2 months, and we socialized them, and they got along with my cats. So when they finally had to go to their home, I cried so bad. And for a week, it would make me cry to think of them. And every time you think, oh, this one maybe we're going to keep. And actually, my husband is worse. So he wants to keep every single one, but that means you cannot rescue another one. And to be honest, 4 cats would be too much. I wouldn't be meeting my own criteria, basically. Yeah. So
it's the heartbreak every time.
Yes. So you just have to be prepared for that. But if you screen people carefully and do the interviews with them, eventually, you know, this is actually the best place for the kitten to go to, and they'll be happier having their own family rather than be another, 2 out of 4 cats. So usually it's happy, but it's also sad.
Yeah, but it's very rewarding, right? At the end of the day, it's very rewarding. Yeah. Okay. So we've talked about a lot fostering, how they can help adoption. Is there anything else, any other information that we need to know?
I think we've covered everything I could think of right now. So I think this is good for people to think about what else they would like to know. So if we were to do another webinar, what else should we be talking about? When certification and safety. And I think you're going to send out a poll afterwards.
Exactly.
So, if there's enough interest, we are happy to run this again. Maybe in collaboration, maybe it will be paid one then.
Exactly, yeah, for people to help out. So, I mean, for everyone who's in Facebook right now or in Zoom, you can go ahead and chat with us what you want. Okay, let me see if there's any other, like, you can just chat to us what other topics you want for the next event that we will be doing. Let me check. Okay, we will probably give you a minute for that if there's some interest.
Meanwhile, I'm petting Zelda, who is like on the window perch next to me.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
She's supervising.
Yeah, supervising. Yeah, good.
Supervising.
Supervising. Okay. Let me check. Okay, we have Rachel who has some comments. Rachel, can you put it in the chat group at the moment? We will be taking the question shortly. What are your other suggestions for the next topic? Let me see. Okay. Maybe, okay, anyways, okay. First timer questions, no problem. Rachel, you can put your question here in the Q&A box so that we can answer your questions later. So anyways, we will be sending a survey after this, okay? But so now we will open. Okay, let me go ahead and show your faces. So we will now invite you to show your videos right now. Give me a moment.
I will see if I can get some extra company here as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all on time. Okay. Let me see. You should be able to see the people. You can turn on your videos, guys. Otherwise, I can also turn it on for you. Give me a moment. Can you see them?
Hi. Somebody's here to say hi.
Hello, so cute.
Unfortunately, he has an eye infection, like you can see.
Oh no. Hello. Very tiny.
Oh, now she walked over the keyboard.
Very tiny voices.
They're very tiny, so they weigh about 400 grams at this point. So, and Zelda, for example, weighs 4.5 kilos. So they're just about a tenth of her.
Okay. So now you can slowly see everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Kerstin, can you see them? You can.
So you can see there's Charlotte, who actually is one of our fosterers and has 2 of the kittens. Now I see something else.
Okay, wait. Give me a moment.
No. Relationships.
Okay, I think we will be taking some questions now. So, one question is, so the pickup arrangement can only happen after June 1st. Kerstin, can
Yes.
you take that?
So provided that the circuit breaker ends then, yes. So at this point, all adoptions and rescues are 100% on hold. So we cannot risk any of the fosterers' work permits, basically, or the organization. So we've had to stop all of the adoptions, and for safety reasons. We don't want anyone to get sick, of course. And we have some kittens that would be ready for adoption. They're old enough. But then others will just be ready. So it depends. So we're really hoping that people can wait and don't meet them at this super, super cute, very small phase, because kittens will still be kittens when they're 3 or 4 months. Yeah, happy to introduce them and then reserve them.
And then from Rachel, there's a question: how do you dispose cat litter appropriately? I guess you don't mix them up with regular rubbish.
So typically it depends on the type of litter. So nowadays there's a lot of different litters. There's the typical clay or sand litter, which is actually not very good for the environment in terms of how it's produced and also in terms of disposing of it. And yes, that actually goes into the regular rubbish bin, but it cannot be recycled or anything. Now, I, for example, use recycled paper litter. And that, at least in part, could be, small parts can be flushed down the toilet, and otherwise it goes into the bin as well. There's tofu litter, there is pine litter. So we would encourage the more natural versions than the silica and other types of litters.
Okay. Okay. Now we have another question. Lara says, Lara from UK. Hello, Lara. Very interesting. My parents adopted a cat 2 years ago, and I definitely saw how much happiness the cat brought them. So nice. Yeah. It's like having a baby, right?
And to some extent, it's maybe having grandkids. So my parents, they cat sit whenever they come to Singapore. So often once a year when we go on our bigger trip and travel, then they come over here and they take care of the kids, and it's like their grandkitties. So that time I don't need a cat sitter or something like that. And maybe that's another, well, not asked question, but there is now great cat sitting services. I use a web service where people end up staying for free in my place, and I get a free cat sitter. So for those wondering what to do with their cats when they're on holiday, there's really, really good options. You don't have to put them into an expensive cat hotel. They would be actually much happier if somebody took care of them in your own home.
Okay, so there's this such like Airbnb of cats.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, so Nina from Singapore. Hi, Nina. She's asking, okay, noted on Project LUNI's website, we need to ask you for a donation or adoption fee of your own choice. What does it mean exactly? Most adoption places will indicate an exact amount as adoption fees.
Yeah, that's true. So the thing is, people have different means, right? So we've decided not to fix a fee of, let's say, $100 or $150, which are common fees. It's typically between $80 and $150. And it's an amount we would recommend because it costs maybe to raise a kitten, it's probably easily $200, $250 for a fosterer. But we have gotten like $100 for some kittens, but we've also gotten $500 for some kittens. So we leave it a bit open for people to see what means do they have, and maybe they see what vet bills a certain fosterer had, and then are willing to maybe donate more in case there was more treatment for the cats in order to cover the cost. So we wanted to keep this a bit more flexible, but we usually advise and we show all the vet bills and all the costs that were associated with the kitten. That's outside, let's say, food and litter and those things, so that we are as transparent as possible, and people can then decide, what are their means. In the end, the most important thing is really that they find a good home, where we feel comfortable and where we know that they'll be happy. But of course,
Okay, that's good.
If you can help out the fosterer, the more they will be able to keep fostering in the future.
Okay, that's good. So now I will let you share some of the information where they can find you. Like if they want to find you later, how can they find you? Okay, here you go.
Yeah. So for anyone that wants to get in touch for anything, the adoptable kittens are usually posted on Facebook. So just know that there's always a pinned post on top where you can check and see, and then the link to the inquiry, which you can fill out, and then either state which kitten you want, that you're open, or maybe you want an adult cat, or you want us to advise which is the most suitable one. And if you'd like to donate or foster or have any other ideas how to help, you can just go on the Project LUNI website under Help Us. I posted earlier the UN number. However, for example, there's also a great pet store called Polypet where you can directly buy food for the street cats, which then gets delivered directly. So it depends. If you don't want to donate money, you could basically buy food for the cats. Some people prefer that. And there's other ways, PayPal and transfers. So we try to keep the options open. If after the circuit breaker, anybody, of course, wants to have any pet portraits of their cats and wants to have a memory of them, you can pop me an email. And for events, I put your email as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Your website, and of course, follow everything on Instagram if you can. You can follow my photographs, which also include dogs and people. You can follow my cats, Marvin and Zelda. They have their Instagram account. They're way more popular than I am.
Exactly.
10 times the followers. So they're way more fun and entertaining than I could be. And
yeah.
Do follow Project LUNI. Do share the posts, and I personally have to say huge thanks to you, April, for hosting this. So you're down there as well, because we
pleasure.
would not have been able to host something like this and do this ourselves with the technology. So this has been great, and hopefully we get the word out there to a few more people that we maybe wouldn't have reached otherwise, and maybe you can see a few faces and a few cat faces behind the scenes, and are encouraged to help to adopt. And this is Piglet sleeping very peacefully.
So cute. Like the baby photos that you see, but this one is a very tiny cat. Okay, I think we have 2 more questions, at least in the Zoom. Let's address them. So from Charlotte, thanks Charlotte for your question. Can you recommend a website to find these free cat sitters?
Yes, so it's called trustedhousesitters.com.
Trustedhousesitters.com. Okay.
It's really great. So you sign up with a membership fee, but that's all you pay for. And then no matter how often you go on holidays per year, I've actually met very interesting people. So the last 2 years, we had a French girl who was remote working from Bali before. So she popped over. Then we had a Spanish couple, we had an American couple. So there's a lot of people traveling. Sometimes it's those young digital nomads, and sometimes it's retired people, for example, that now have time to travel the world and love pets and love animals. We've had really good experiences. Everybody really took good care of the cats. They sent us pictures. And when I struggle in choosing, which happens quite often because you get so great applications basically for your holiday, then I usually try to give it to someone that otherwise wouldn't have the chance, right? So that single girl that otherwise couldn't afford a hotel in Singapore or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's a great service, and it really helps to have somebody take care of your pets.
That's
And it's
amazing.
not paid for, you know.
I'm going to use that. Like when all this lockdown is done,
I
I'm
want to
definitely
I want to go to this cottage in France with dogs and cats and
exactly.
eat good food, drink good wine.
Exactly. A message from Nino. Okay, I've been wanting to adopt a cat ever since, but I wasn't sure I'm ready to take the responsibility. Thank you for the excellent presentation. Thank you, Nino. It is a very informative and gave me a couple of ideas. Thank you so much, Nino, for your kind words. Okay, one question from Nina from Singapore. Another question: are magnetic insect screens acceptable of window meshing for Singapore street cats, or is this at the discretion of respective adoption centers?
So magnetic screens are usually not recommended because a cat that weighs 5 to 6 kilos can actually easily pull them off. So if they jump on the magnetic screen and like attach their claws to it, we've actually seen videos of them basically pulling it off and jumping out. So I wouldn't advise magnetic screens. You can do more sturdy structures. So I have some homemade screens. I have a very German, hello Zelda, dad who loves to make things himself. So we've built most of our cat trees because I don't like the local stuff. And he built wooden frames with a sturdy mesh that the cats cannot destroy. So we've known people to do it yourself, but the magnetic or mosquito mesh, the mesh is usually not sturdy enough, and the magnets they can just flip off.
Okay. I didn't know that. Let me check if we have any questions from the Facebook page. Give me a moment. Because we're still live right now. Just one moment. Let's see if we have any questions from our audiences. So I think that's about it for the questions from Zoom. Let me see.
So if questions ever come up, you know, you can also just Facebook message us. And if you say you've been on a Zoom seminar, then I will tell Nina to just forward the questions to me and I can answer them. If you can see everyone, Nina, can you wave? There, that's Nina. So she's the founder of Project LUNI, if you can see her wave. So
Hi, Nina. Thank you so much for founding this.
And
amazing.
Then we have Charlotte. Charlotte, do you want to wave? She has 4 of our foster kittens right now. So I don't know, who else do we have here? Do we have more foster kittens? Oh, there's Sue and Nisha as well. They have a bunch of very cute kittens. They're our constant fosterers. I think Sue said at some point they had 14 foster kittens.
Wow, that's amazing.
I'm not sure now. It's, I think, still at least 7 or
14.
There's still a lot.
Oh, 8. They say Sunita said they have 8. Okay, I have 8. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, guys. So thank you so much, Kerstin, for collaborating with us and your willingness to really share the story, your story and Project LUNI's story. We hope that we will be able to help your organization through this webinar. And for those who joined us late via Facebook, I will introduce myself again. I'm April Tolentino. I'm the founder of Dolce Vita Events. It's a sustainable events company based in Singapore. We host digital events like this, what you can see right now. And on 28th of April, we are doing an event about urban gardening. The title of the event is How Not to Kill Your Plants. So it's an urban gardening startup guide. Registration for that is definitely still active. You may go to www.dolcevita.sg to book your tickets. And after this session, there will be a post survey immediately that will pop up on your screen. So please don't close that. you will, we will really appreciate it. Me, myself, Dolce Vita Events, Kerstin, and Project LUNI will definitely appreciate your help to fill out the 2-minute survey. So it's very quick. And if there's no other questions, okay, there's no other questions. Yeah, so thank you so much again for everyone who registered and watched over this Zoom link and in our Facebook page. We look forward to provide you with more events that can help you get through this period. So we thank you for your support and have a good evening or good afternoon wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. Thank you.